It is Hollywood drama at its peak. Justin Baldoni has officially fired back against Blake Lively in a jaw-dropping $400 million lawsuit claiming she tried to destroy his reputation behind the scenes of It Ends With Us. The lawsuit is packed with explosive allegations of defamation, civil extortion, media manipulation.
Blake Lively just dropped some serious tea, and it has the internet in a frenzy. The surprising twist? It involves not just Justin Baldoni, but also Blake's close friend Taylor Swift. At first glance, it might seem like Taylor and Justin have nothing to do with each other. But if the rumors are true, there's more history here than anyone realized. And now, speculation is running wild that Blake and Taylor may be joining forces to take Justin down. The drama all began on the set of It Ends With Us, based on Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel. Blake stars as Lily Bloom, while Justin plays her abusive partner Ryle Kincaid. Reports suggest tensions behind the scenes reached a boiling point, and by the time the promotional tour launched, Blake and Justin were no longer on speaking terms. Things escalated further in December 2024 when Blake filed a formal complaint with California's Civil Rights Department. She accused Justin and members of the production team of harassment and retaliation, claiming that the studio failed to protect her, despite assurances. Blake didn't mince words. She alleged that after speaking up, Justin's team initiated a targeted smear campaign to ruin her reputation. According to her, the fallout left her emotionally depleted, stressed, and losing professional opportunities. In response, Justin filed a counterclaim for $400 million, accusing Blake of defamation and civil extortion. His legal team insists her claims don't hold water, and they say they've got receipts, including behind-the-scenes footage, to back him up. Now here's where things take a sharp turn. Justin's team has started leaking footage from the set to defend his narrative. Blake's camp responded quickly, dismissing it as another manipulation tactic. Meanwhile, Justin escalated matters further by filing a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, alleging biased coverage that damaged his career even more. Both Blake and Justin are taking massive risks. For Blake, the backlash from her claims, if proven false, could severely impact her career and credibility. For Justin, a loss in court would seriously undermine his public image as an advocate for women's rights. This isn't just a Hollywood squabble, it's becoming a litmus test for accountability in the entertainment industry. And then came the latest bombshell, a new leak of text messages and voice memos, completely separate from the original lawsuits. These new materials offer insight into Blake and Justin's behind-the-scenes relationship, and some of it is downright jaw-dropping. In addition, footage from the film contradicts aspects of Blake's formal complaint. The drama has become so volatile that people online are now comparing Blake to Amber Heard, drawing parallels between their public image spirals. But what's really raising eyebrows is the alleged influence Blake wielded through her connections to Taylor Swift and husband Ryan Reynolds. According to rumors, Blake leveraged their massive social media followings to pressure Justin and Sony Pictures into surrendering control of the project to her. The deal? Give Blake more power over the film, or miss out on promo to hundreds of millions of fans. That plan, it seems, didn't work as expected, and now, the fallout is showing. One major player in this saga who hasn't been discussed enough is Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us. Back in 2019, she sold the rights to her novel and even handpicked Justin to play Ryle. She was deeply involved in scripting and promoting the project and remained publicly supportive throughout, until Blake filed her lawsuit. Only after that did Colleen take to Instagram to publicly side with Blake. But here's the thing. This support came after promo interviews where everyone, including Colleen, was still smiling for the cameras. That timeline doesn't sit right with fans. Things really began to unravel when Justin lost creative control of the movie's editing process. Insiders claim Colleen demanded more authority and refused to promote the film unless she got it. Despite all this, Justin maintained professionalism. He praised Blake's talent and contribution in every interview, even when she was allegedly working behind the scenes to cut him out of the project. According to those close to the production, Blake took over editing, marketing, and even dictated how intimate scenes were handled. She was reportedly meticulous about what would work on screen, calling the shots down to the smallest details. Then, in a shocking twist, She allegedly reversed the narrative, claiming those same scenes made her uncomfortable and blaming Justin for the content she initially helped shape. When Justin tried to credit her during interviews, she would shift the focus away from him, refusing to acknowledge his contributions. All signs point to a major power play gone wrong. People are calling Blake a master manipulator, saying she turned Colleen against Justin and used her Hollywood clout to frame the story in her favor. Meanwhile, Colleen reportedly kept praising Justin in private text messages, thanking him for giving her so much input, yet never defended him publicly. This all paints a complicated picture. Blake claimed in her lawsuit that Justin was improvising too much and kissing her more than necessary. However, behind-the-scenes accounts say there were only 2 kissing scenes, and both were written into the script, agreed upon, and carefully choreographed. Now that all this has come to light, people are questioning who's really telling the truth. Is Blake using her connections to protect herself and her image? Is Justin being unfairly vilified, or is he hiding behind a professional facade? And what role are Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds really playing behind the scenes? One thing's for sure. The fallout from this saga is far from over. With lawsuits still pending, new evidence dropping regularly, and major public figures tangled in the mess, it's anyone's guess how the story ends, or whose career survives it. There were only 2 kissing scenes in the film before production was paused, but when filming resumed, everything shifted. Blake Lively came back with a list of new demands, and most notably, she reportedly refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator, a protocol that Justin Baldoni had followed from the beginning. That alone raised eyebrows and may explain why Colleen Hoover, the author of the novel the film is based on, eventually seemed to side with Blake. Blake allegedly pulled strings to bring Colleen into the editing room to help finish the movie after she had essentially taken control away from Justin. What's strange is that Colleen had previously praised Justin's original script, calling it so good, and expressing her excitement. So, why was Blake suddenly changing lines on the fly during filming? It came off as controlling, and rumors about creative overreach began to circulate. Blake's harassment claims during production also started to fall apart under scrutiny. Evidence, including behind-the-scenes footage, directly contradicts some of her allegations. Justin's team has been quietly holding onto receipts, and now they're starting to surface. Here's where the story takes another turn. Justin had cast Isabella Ferrer to play young Lily in the film, but that casting choice appears to have been heavily influenced by Taylor Swift. Blake, after being convinced by Taylor, pushed hard for Isabella's involvement. Even though Justin was the one who first recognized Isabella's talent, his role in her casting was overshadowed. Justin had nothing but praise for Isabella and supported her privately and publicly. Text messages show that Isabella appreciated his guidance, but she kept her public support aligned with Blake. In fact, at the film's premiere, Isabella positioned herself squarely with Blake, despite only having worked directly with Justin on set. Blake worked hard to bring Isabella into her inner circle, styling her for events, taking her to premieres, and even introducing her to Ryan Reynolds on the set of Deadpool and Wolverine. Blake clearly knew how to play the game. She cultivated alliances and reinforced her position, while Justin faded into the background. With Blake and Colleen driving the film's post-production and marketing, Isabella's chances at securing a sequel look very promising. Meanwhile, Justin was doing everything he could to accommodate Blake during production. It began when she wanted to rewrite a pivotal rooftop scene. Justin agreed, complimented her input, and even said he'd consider integrating some of her changes. But Blake wasn't just offering creative ideas. She invoked her high-powered connections, referring to herself as Khaleesi from Game of Thrones and calling Taylor and Ryan her dragons. It was a clear signal that she had power, and she wasn't afraid to use it. Once Blake got her foot in the door with that one scene, she began demanding script changes daily. Justin, not wanting to create tension, allowed it. Before long, Blake was questioning his direction on every scene. The situation took a turn for the worse when she accused Justin of fat-shaming her. Justin, who has suffered from chronic back pain, reportedly asked Blake's trainer how much she weighed in order to prepare for a lift during a scene. That inquiry was twisted into a fat-shaming allegation. Blake and Ryan invited Justin to their penthouse, where Ryan allegedly exploded on him. Blake threatened to quit the film unless Justin did everything her way, and if he didn't, She warned she would go public with the fat-shaming claim. Justin backed down, apologized, and tried to keep the project on track. Throughout filming, Blake even praised him. But things shifted once again when Blake filed her harassment claims. She said the inappropriate behavior occurred only during the first month of filming, yet text messages she sent Justin throughout the shoot tell a different story. She was warm, collaborative, and constantly asking for access to footage. Some crew members objected to Blake having access to raw footage, saying it wasn't standard practice, but Justin, trying to keep the peace, shared some. When he finally said no, Blake escalated the issue, going to Ryan and her legal team. She allegedly issued new demands and effectively held the production hostage. Leaked raw footage has undermined her harassment claims. One of her most serious allegations was that Justin kissed her neck and sniffed her during a scene. But the unedited footage tells another story. Both actors were in character, joking between takes, and their interaction appeared entirely professional. In fact, Blake herself suggested they play it more romantically for the camera, in the revised scene, which Blake pushed for. Justin is seen complimenting her real-life marriage with Ryan Reynolds and even talks about how romantic he is with his own wife. There's no inappropriate behavior, just two professionals trying to create chemistry on screen. The suggestion that these moments were harassment doesn't align with the tone or content of the footage. Blake Lively had her hands in every part of this production, from editing to marketing. She's known for her savvy and control behind the scenes. She appears to have used that influence to paint Justin as the villain while strengthening her own position. She convinced Ryan that Justin was a threat, allegedly manipulated Colleen into taking her side, and even pulled Isabella Ferrer into her orbit. All the while, Justin remained mostly silent, focusing on getting the film made. He praised Blake publicly, never addressed the drama, and remained professional. But now, with receipts surfacing and leaked footage contradicting Blake's claims, the narrative is beginning to shift. For many, this is starting to look less like a case of harassment and more like a well-executed power play gone wrong. In the end, Blake's decision to weaponize her influence may backfire. The comparisons to Amber Heard are growing louder, and the court of public opinion is no longer unanimously on her side. As the legal battle unfolds, more details are likely to emerge, and it's clear the story is far from over. Things really escalated when Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds decided to publicly troll Justin Baldoni at the end of It Ends With Us. In the film's thank you credits, Blake included a nod to Gordon Reynolds, who's credited as Nicepool in Deadpool and Wolverine. The character, Nicepool, appears to be a direct jab at Justin. What's strange is that Ryan never worked with Justin and doesn't even know him personally, so how did he base this character on him? It's likely that Blake fed Ryan exaggerated or misleading stories to support her narrative. The trolling didn't stop with the credits. In the film, Blake's character, Ladypool, kills Nicepool in front of a flower shop, a setting that feels like a direct nod to It Ends With Us, tying the mockery to Blake's character even more. Then, in July, Blake posted on Instagram to promote the film and included a not-so-subtle dig at Justin. She referenced nice men who use feminism as a tool, which seemed like a direct hit at Justin's well-known advocacy for women and his podcast on male allyship. Justin had even planned to donate part of the movie's proceeds to causes supporting domestic abuse survivors. Still, Blake and Ryan took every chance to make fun of him, even referencing his back problems. In one scene, the character Nicepool makes a joke about low bone density, a clear callback to the earlier body-shaming drama during production. Blake's trolling extended beyond the screen. At one event, she wore a multicolored Versace dress famously worn by Britney Spears in 2002. While this may have seemed like a sweet tribute, fans quickly noticed the real subtext. Blake highlighted the dress on Instagram, calling Britney the ultimate queen. But this may not have been about Britney at all. It was likely another jab at Justin, who once shared a lighthearted story about an awkward encounter with Britney that didn't go over well online. The implication? Blake was using pop culture references as subtle shade to keep the feud alive. Justin's story about Britney was harmless. He approached her on set after they'd exchanged tweets, assuming they were friendly. He gave her a big hug, which startled her. He laughed it off, saying he probably came across as a creep, and his co-stars teased him. Years later, Blake is suing Justin for harassment. Ironic timing, right? So why did Blake, Colleen Hoover, and even parts of the cast turn on Justin, the very director who brought them all together for the movie? The simplest answer: power and sequels. The follow-up to It Ends With Us, called It Starts With Us, is already in the works. While Justin owns the rights, Blake has made it clear she's interested in directing the sequel. When asked, Justin even said she'd be a great choice and called her a powerhouse. But it seems Blake had her own plans, quietly building a team around her, including Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, and others. With Colleen Hoover and much of the cast now aligned with Blake, Justin has been pushed to the sidelines. But here's the catch: Justin still holds the rights. The only way Blake could take control of the sequel is if Justin voluntarily steps away, or if a morality clause in his contract with Sony or Colleen Hoover is triggered. For example, if Justin is found guilty of harassment or causes reputational harm to the project, the rights could revert to Hoover or Sony, clearing the way for Blake to take the reins. It's a bold and calculated strategy, especially considering how successful the first movie was, and there's even more drama. Reports surfaced that in September, before any lawsuits were filed, Ryan Reynolds tried to buy Justin out of his rights to the sequel. Ryan allegedly offered millions, anticipating a major box office win. But Justin declined, likely because of how he felt mistreated during earlier negotiations with Blake and Ryan. Sources say that during a visit to their penthouse to discuss the sequel, tensions exploded. The meeting backfired, and Justin stood his ground. It's no coincidence, then, that Blake filed her harassment lawsuit shortly after. It's likely her final attempt to push Justin out and secure full control of the sequel. According to Justin, this betrayal cut deep. He recalled a moment when Blake had comforted him during a tough call with Sony about backlash related to casting and wardrobe. Her praise and kind words helped restore his confidence, and he believed they were on the same page creatively. Now, he's stunned to see her use those moments against him. We don't have all the receipts, and everyone involved remains innocent until proven guilty. But the timing, the tactics, and the layers of behind-the-scenes power plays raise a lot of questions. Is this just Hollywood politics? Or is there something even deeper going on?